Means this has been on. Gosh, what time is it? Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is you're watching this video. Thank you so much for clicking on my channel. I so appreciate it. My name is Ems and I am here on YouTube from time to time doing beauty content, tutorials, reviews, yada yada yada, because I like all that stuff, and so I figured if I'm going to overspend on things, I might as well share it with you and help you guys make better decisions. Maybe, I don't know. So you are watching my foundation series. In this foundation series, what I'm doing is I'm going through my foundation collection and I'm using foundations that I already own for 1 week straight. In some cases, I'm comparing some one to another. In some cases, I'm doing a full face of just one if I can't find anything that I feel serves a comparison basis. This week is a comparison and review. So the two foundations that I am reviewing on my dry skin, so that is key. I feel like foundations really depend on your skin type, how they're gonna work, how they're gonna function, if they're gonna last or look good, and all that jazz. Most of these foundations I have owned for a bit. In the case of both of these babies, these were my ride or die for a long time. They were my absolute favorites, and given, 2020 and other factors, I just spent a lot of time without using makeup. I hadn't touched either of these in almost the whole year, to be honest, but they were my ride or die. And so I did the review on them. I started it at the end of October. It actually took me a while to get through this review. So I actually did wear both of these foundations pretty consecutively for about 3 weeks. By the end of this review video, I have been wearing these foundations for about 3 weeks straight. So I have a really good idea of how they're feeling, how they're looking, and the pros and the cons on them. And then this video is going to consist of the whole review. So you will see me from day one all the way until the last day of the trial. I only filmed 3 trials, but let me tell you, I am wearing it on all the other days as well to really get a feel for them and to have something to tell you, basically. So Makeup Forever HD stick is always gonna be on one side of my face, while the Hourglass Vanish stick is always gonna be on the other side of my face, in case you guys are curious for purposes of finding your shade. So actually I have 2 shades of the HD stick. One is 123 or Y365 and the other one is Y415. These are the 2 shades in the Makeup Forever HD stick, and the shade in the Vanish stick is Nude. This is definitely my winter shade, while Y365 is my winter shade over here and Y415 is my summer shade. So I kind of just mix these together because I like how they look together actually as a combined shade. Vanish stick is still leaving me kind of pale looking these days, but with bronzer and all that, it's adjusted and it's totally fine. The Makeup Forever Ultra HD Stick Foundation is a cream stick foundation, as is the Vanish stick. This one retails for $43 at Sephora, and the Vanish stick, Hourglass Vanish stick, also a cream stick foundation, retails for $46 at Sephora. So the Ultra HD stick from Makeup Forever is a little bit less expensive, but let me see by ounces. So the Hourglass Nude stick is 0.25 ounces, while the Ultra HD stick is 0.44 ounces. So really, if you're looking at ounces, the Ultra HD stick is a much better price for the product that you get. If you want to see how my trial went on these foundations, how I felt about them as the days went on, then keep on watching, and at the very end I will give them a rating of 1 to 10 in scale. You guys already know these are some of my favorites. That's kind of a giveaway, but it doesn't mean that they were perfect, because it's one thing to wear them and not really pay attention and really like them. And it's a different thing when you're sitting there analyzing every little detail and situation. You know what I mean? All right. So without further ado, let me get into this trial and review and my final thoughts. Alright guys, so this is the start of day one foundation. Makeup Forever is on this side, the Hourglass is on this side. Let me zoom you in for a quick look. Here we go. So this is Makeup Forever. And this is Hourglass. So they look identical, like they really do. They look identical. The Makeup Forever one is a little bit creamier, so it is a little bit more spreadable, so that I'll tell you right away. The Hourglass is a little bit drier, but I think I've had the Hourglass longer, so it could be that it's just drier because it's a little bit older. As I previously mentioned, these are literally my two absolute like go-to favorite foundations, and unfortunately I'm just not going through them fast enough. I really like the way they are, you know, the way they look. One compared to the other, I like them both the same right now. We will check them out to see if one happens to last longer, which one does better with a mask on, because obviously I'm gonna be wearing a mask today because I have things I gotta do. So I'll check in at the end of the night. Let me give you a quick time check-in. It is 11:29. So I'll just check in before bed and we'll analyze how it looks at the end of the day. Good evening, guys. So we've made it to the end of day one, and honestly, they look pretty good overall. I did have to wear a mask quite a bit today, and I don't feel like I got very patchy or anything. I have a very weird skin thing going on right now. There's like a patch right here, and I've noticed it for the past week. That foundation just does not want to stick right here. So I'm not gonna blame that on this foundation because I feel like I'm having a skin issue. So this is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Stick Foundation, and this is the Vanish Stick Foundation. This is it, end of the night. It is 9:06 p.m. I'm so sorry about the voiceover, but I realized I really didn't give you any information at the end of this night. So really quickly here, I felt like it faded very nicely. It didn't do anything weird. I'm having a skin issue this evening, so that's that. But aside from that, it faded fantastically. The coverage ended up probably at 40% of what it was originally. So the coverage definitely went down, but I did have it on for over 9 hours, almost 10 hours. By no means did it do anything weird or break up or really dig into fine lines. It actually did very well. Day two on the record. So on this day, this was the first time I used it where my skin was extremely dry and I felt like it looked cakey for the first time. So overall, it performed just as well as the first time. It did end up looking just fine, but that was the first day that my dry skin was really affecting how it looked initially upon application. Alright guys, so we've made it to the final day of the review between the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation and the Makeup Forever HD Foundation. So today I double layered them, which I've done a few times in the past month while using them regularly. And let me bring you in. I wanted to bring you in before I did any other makeup on my face. This is the Makeup Forever side, and this is the Hourglass side. Wear-wise and how they look, I feel like they look pretty much the same as each other. How they feel, the Makeup Forever is much more spreadable. It's a little bit more moisturizing, and I think it actually feels better on the skin than the Vanish Stick. That's definitely something that has held true from the beginning of this trial. Wearing and lasting power, I feel like they wear very similarly throughout the day and that they last pretty similarly throughout the day. But we will still do a full day test today. So it is 2:34, so I will be wearing a mask quite a bit today. So I did powder, and to be very honest, I feel like it's looking a little cakey right now, which I feel like that's not how it used to look, which just goes to show you also that your skin definitely changes over time and goes through phases. So where these have been my ride or die for, I don't know, 3 to 4 years, almost 4 years. But I hadn't used them all that much this past year. And now I'm using them and I'm feeling like they look a little bit cakey. Like they look like, both of them, they both look a little bit cakey and they both sit on the skin in a way that isn't my favorite. So it's actually kind of disappointing because I feel like I have backups of these foundations because I loved them so much. And now I'm like, well, maybe they're not suiting my skin like they used to. Also, must mention that we've had very cold weather in the last 3 weeks in California. And so my skin has been feeling even more dry and dehydrated than normal. Skin is always dry, so that's nothing new. But I feel like the cold came on so suddenly, and I've been working on manipulating my skincare routine so my skin feels good. And I've been doing the manipulation of skincare routine at the same time as trying these foundations. So that is a little asterisk to the try on of these foundations, that it could be the weather change and my skin getting super dry, and that could also be affecting the performance of them because my skincare isn't on point like it should be. And as I mentioned when I was about to start my foundation series, almost more important than the actual foundation or face makeup is your skincare underneath it. I feel like if your skin is feeling good and plump and nice, then most foundations will just work better and nicer, and they'll lay nicer. So I am throwing that out there because I am suffering from extreme dry skin right now. That being said, I have done everything in the past 2 weeks to really help my skin out, but I'm still playing with moisturizers and different products for this time of year. So I will come back at the end of the night and do a check-in. Hello, good evening. It's really late. Okay, it's not that late. It's just late for me because I'm old. It's 11:11. The foundation has been on a good 8 hours. I haven't really checked it out in a mirror yet, so I feel like it looks really good still. I think double layering it really made a big difference to the staying power of it, because I feel like it looks really good still. Over here, you can see there's some choppiness right here. I did have my mask on 90% of the time I was out. So this does make sense that it would kind of start getting choppy here just from like the putting on of the mask and taking off of the mask and putting on of the mask, you know what I mean. So that little bit of choppiness kind of right here makes perfect sense in my opinion, because that's probably where the mask was kind of rubbing the most. I think honestly today it performed really well. This is the Vanish stick side and this is the HD stick side. So Makeup Forever, Hourglass. When it comes to one side compared to the other, I honestly feel like they're very similar in performance. I feel like they are very similar in performance and very similar in how they end up like working over time. Like I was feeling like both sides looked a little bit heavy, a little bit cakey, and were sitting on top of my skin a bit, and I wasn't loving them. And honestly, that's been kind of my opinion overall the past month that I've used them. But what I will say today, from being able to take it from the very beginning, and I know like I fully analyzed it and looked at it, and looking at it now, I feel like it looks really good now. I don't feel like it looks cakey. I don't feel like it's separated. I don't feel like it's gone down a bad direction. I feel like actually a couple hours into wearing it, actually probably about the 3 to 4 hour mark, is probably when it looked its very best. It's almost like it took time for it to warm up on my skin and for it to kind of start settling in, but not settling in like a bad way, like doing weird things, settling in like, I don't know, like it wasn't sitting on top anymore. So about the 3-hour mark, and so I checked it out and it actually looked really good. So, you know, I'm kind of torn. These absolutely were my favorites. I think I've said that 1,000 times in this video. So it was a little heartbreaking that I felt like they didn't look that great anymore, and I didn't know if my opinion had changed or my skin and the way they sat on it had changed, or maybe they just weren't as great as I used to think they were when I was using them regularly. I don't know. So there's all these things. But honestly, right now, like looking at my skin, looking at the coverage, I think it looks really, really good. Like 8 hours in with a mask on, like I feel like it's performed so well. Both of them have performed so well, and I feel like they look really, really good. And honestly, I think they've looked really, really good for the past 4 hours. Like they were sitting on top for a little bit, but I wore them longer, and my body temperature like eventually made them like settle into my skin. I don't know if that makes any sense. And I'm making shit up. Like, I don't know how this works, but it does look better. That's all I know. I don't know the science behind it. All I know is that when I first put them on, I was a little disappointed. I felt like they looked a bit heavy. I felt like they looked like they were sitting on my skin, which I'm not a fan of that. And about 3 hours in, all of a sudden it looked good. And about 4 hours in, it looked like I remembered it always looking. This is the interesting part about taking this foundation journey, is kind of paying attention. Maybe they always work this way, but you know, like on an everyday basis, we normal people, we put on our makeup and we're like rushing out the door. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I am doing my makeup and like zooming out of my house. And it's not like I'm sitting there staring at it to see if it looks good. And I probably only, you know, would look at it here and there throughout the day, and I really liked it and it was comfortable. So are they comfortable from the get-go? Yes. Do they have good coverage from the get-go? Yes. But they were sitting on top of my skin looking a little cakey from the get-go. Yes. A few hours in, they looked fantastic. So I don't know if that helps you or helps anyone out there make a decision about these. But what I will say about them is that they are very comfortable on my dry skin. The Makeup Forever Foundation HD stick is more comfortable than the Hourglass stick. Wasn't thoroughly surprising, just like a little bit surprising. I felt like forever, I thought they were almost exactly the same feeling wise, but when I feel them side by side when I put them on, the Makeup Forever is definitely more comfortable quicker than the Hourglass. So because of that, I am going to give a Makeup Forever an overall score of a 9. And I am going to give the Vanish stick an overall score of 8.5. So for someone that has skin like mine, who is not only very dry, but you have the kind of skin that just loves to eat product. And when I say eat product, if you have that kind of skin, you know what I mean. Like you can put on a bunch of makeup and sometimes within a couple hours, it doesn't look like you're wearing anything anymore. Then I feel like both of these work very well. Again, this is 8 hours in with a mask and I still feel like it looks good. Thank you guys so much for watching this foundation review. So both these foundations I still very much enjoy, I still very much like, but yeah, I think they've both proven themselves to work well over time. However, they have dropped down a notch in what they used to be. They used to be like up on a pedestal, and I feel like I actually have foundations that I like better now. All right, so in a few weeks, I will post another foundation trial. If you have a preference as to which ones you'd like to see next, let me know down below. Anyway, all right, thank you so much for watching. Remember to spread love, not hate.
Bye.